Hello everyone. My name is Andrea and I'm autistic. I'm 50 years old. I'm a neuroscientist, neuropsychologist, and I have been on a carnivore diet for the last 4.5 months, more or less. I didn't count the days. And I want this to be, or at least to become, a journal of my healing journey, which has been absolutely impressive and stunning, as I was completely knocked to the ground by illness. Now I'm slowly coming back to life. I'm taking virtually no medication besides some supplements that I still need to take because of my genetic mutations. But even those I have reduced. And I have tried pretty much everything under the sun until literally stumbling on the carnivore diet. And it's interesting because the universe must have put the carnivore diet on my path already quite a few times, and I always thought it was insane. It was a crazy thought to only eat meat. Who on earth eats only meat? Well, humans. I came to understand that humans eat only meat. Or at least that's what they're supposed to eat, because we have done that for millions of years. And then the modern era, contemporary era came in, and we completely lost contact with our origins and with our health more than anything. And in the last thousands of years, we have grown to accept that illness, stupid illness, absolutely unnecessary illness, is just part of life. And that is just stupid. And I was as stupid as I'm saying that other people are stupid, because I did that. And when was it? 2017, I believe. I was really sick, and I went to nutritionist, complementary doctor, a long list of, what were they? Homeopathic, natural nutritionist, something like that, with tons of certificates. Lots of money I spent on them because I was really sick, and they put me on juicing. They put me on a very strict juicing and seed regimen, where I was literally juicing pounds and pounds of green leaves, spinaches, and, well, you know the drill, in the morning, with taking tons of sauce on top of it and all the supplements, to make it even healthier. And then at night, I was supposed to grind a ridiculous amount of seeds that were supposed to be very good for my woman health and for my menstrual health, for my uterus, for my hormones. And I ended up needing surgery because the issues I had became a hell of a lot worse. I literally would juice in the morning, drive to work. On the drive to work, I started praying that I could reach the toilet. By the time I got to work, I spent the first 10 minutes on the toilet, like literally expelling water everywhere, because I couldn't retain any of what I was juicing. And when I say that, I understand other people and why they insist and how brainwashed you can be. It's because I was so brainwashed that despite my decreased wellness, despite how bad I was living, because it was not just that morning toilet event that started a day-long event where for the next 6 to 8 hours I would work like 10-20 minutes, achieve as much as I could, and run to the toilet and be as sick as a dog. Then had to go outside, walk around the block, because I had a panic attack that was so overwhelming that I couldn't possibly walk into any building and talk to anyone. As soon as my breathing would come back to decent, and I'm saying normal because normal didn't exist in that period, when I came back to decent, I would go back into the office, work as crazy as I could, And for that, I thank my supposed high IQ and performance, because despite my illness, I was able to keep performing in all my data, my daily requested data. So thank God I didn't lose my job. But it was hell. It was absolute hell. And I did that for months until I literally could not keep anything in my body anymore. And I was just lying on the ground in the bathroom one day when my wife came in, and she said, "What the hell is going on?" And I looked at her, I'm like, "I don't want to die. I feel like I'm dying. I don't want to die." And she said, "Okay, we're going to stop doing all of this now. We're going to go back to something else." And she put me on bone broth, which was the only thing that I could actually keep down. And then she started adding a few pieces of chicken to my bone broth. Had I been enlightened back then, but I wasn't. Because after the chicken, the next thing was zucchini. And then zucchini added some broccoli, and the broccoli added, I don't know, some other vegetables. And I slowly, within the next month, I started doing better, and then I started eating some chicken just because that was the only thing my body craved. Now I understand why. Chicken and butter, by the way. So, but that was not enough. After that, I went on a keto diet. At least I did something good, something that was better than what I was doing before. And I was really not doing a dirty keto diet at all. I hated all this keto processed food because I've never been into processed food, which probably saved my life. I hated things in the box and plastic. But I did something for the keto diet that also started destroying me, or kept destroying me, which is taking a taste for almonds and almond flour. I had hated almonds my whole life. Probably my body was telling me some good things about almonds, and I ignored it. And I learned to like, I would say, almond flour, because of course you're on keto, you take away flour and you have to substitute with something, because we believe that we have to substitute flour with something, which is a lie, such a big lie. We don't have to substitute flour with absolutely anything. We do not need anything that's in flour. Anyhow, I changed it, so that probably helped some of my inflammation, but at the same time, as I discovered in the last few months, it loaded me with oxalates in a crazy degree. And given that I had just loaded myself with oxalates with all my juicing, after that I just started suffering from pains, menstrual pain that were so out of the park that I would spend hours and hours in super hot water with pains that not even morphine would take away. Which obviously at some point ended up in a surgery with fibromas the size of a fist. And of course I discovered that came from oxalates too, most likely. But anyhow, this is to say that even those experiences and did not allow me to get closer to a carnivore diet, because as I went keto, I discovered there were lots of people eating carnivore. My wife, I think, suggested it at some point. It's like, "Hey, what about we try that?" I'm like, "Hey, you crazy?" I did that. I did it. I answered that. I was all into, it's not ethical, it's this, it's that. I just had drunk all the Kool-Aid and believed the media. I didn't look at the signs that I knew I could refer to. And it's even worse than that, because I was watching some videos of people explaining that over the millennia, over the millions of years we've been on this planet, the food we have now has never existed. And given that the illnesses we have now have literally never existed, most of those have never existed, like heart attacks, and diabetes, of course, pre-agriculture, diabetes was pretty unknown. But, we can't do one-on-one because we're exposed to so much information that we suck down like nectar that we can't literally do the most simplistic math. And so I discarded carnivore, and then I discarded carnivore again, and then I discarded it again. And then I came to move to Spain. And during COVID, I moved to Spain for family reasons. And In Spain, we had again lots of property, and we went like, oh yes, we can have a garden again, and I can get healthy again. I had just had my surgery, my hysterectomy, all those bad things had been taken out. Let's go back to making a few new ones. And that is what I did. We started creating some soils and adaptation. COVID was raging. You couldn't even leave the house. So there's nothing better than creating your own garden for your own sustainability, for your own health, right? Well, not so much. I had not recovered completely from any of the events that had happened in the last few years in my life. My autism symptoms were acting out to an extent that I started literally believing that I would end up in a psychiatric hospital because I was starting to have meltdowns every few days. My panic attacks were raging. I could see all of this happening. And it was almost like I was split, almost like I was living outside of my body sometimes and observing myself going through all of this, feeling like destroyed by what I was seeing and being completely incapable of doing anything about it. We literally started eating 80-90% of food from our garden, and the rest was just good stuff, like good fresh meat, fresh chickens, fresh eggs. We started getting chickens, thank God, something good, and fresh fish, and vegetables and vegetables and vegetables and vegetables and vegetables. And I can only thank the fact that there was COVID and we couldn't get out to get a juicer that we were not able to bring from America with us because, all the socket electricity issues. And it's sad I didn't juice because otherwise I would probably be dead now if I had started juicing. But then stress and vegetables and stress and vegetables knocked me to the ground, started getting sick again, really, really sick. This time I started having fibromyalgia and this overall pain in my whole body that I had heard people describe fibromyalgia, but I couldn't fathom how horrendous it is. It's not just the pain. On top of the pain, there's fatigue. On top of fatigue, there's brain fog. My insulin levels were rising and I couldn't understand why. I was only eating vegetables and fruits and vegetables and fruits and vegetables and fruits, and I was so stupid and blind. And looking back, I know that part of it came from the fact that I had what I now call sugar brain, which I believe is what happens with a normal human diet that you can find anywhere because we eat so much sugar between fructose and sucrose and glucose that our brain just can't deal with it anymore and we become literally stupid. And on the other hand, I was so sick that I didn't have any resources anymore to look further. In the last year before starting Carnivore, I don't know how I survived. I lived in a panic state. I've had a few times where I asked my wife, please bring me to the psychiatric unit. I'm really scared I'm going to kill myself because I can't deal with this life anymore. I just don't know how to go on. I don't have the resources. And mind you, I've been a pretty resourceful human being. I've been on my own since I was 17, minding my own life and going through quite a list of severe traumas and life events without any support, and I always managed to come out on the other side. And this time, I was lost. I didn't know what to do. It was like I was losing my brain and my body from myself. Like something was taking my life away from me and you couldn't figure out what. And that sent me into such a depressed mode. I thought, there's no reason for me to live anymore. I have tried going to the doctor and psychiatrists, having prescriptions. I can't take any psychiatric prescription, none of them. If I take a little bit of Xanax, I have a Xanax to sleep once a year, I can get away with it. 2 in a row, I have a meltdown and I say there's just no way around it. And they put in some medication, like, oh my God, how do people take them? I mean, I'm happy if they work for some, but not for me. I've never been able to take those things. Which also made me feel like I have no way out. I literally have no way out. I'm eating the healthiest food in the world. I'm trying to, well, I was exercising every day. I went running until fibromyalgia impeded that, and then the other pain prevented me from doing so. And then I had to stop exercising too. I had to stop everything. I literally, in the last few months, I would wake up in the morning. The second consciousness hit me, I would think, oh my God, it hurts so much. This is so painful. Another day alive. Those are my first thoughts. My second thought was like, okay, I can find a way through. There's a way. I can. No, I can't. Yes, I can. No, I can't. I don't know. I tried to get up. Getting out of bed was the second horror, because to get out of bed, I meant that I first had to move my spine, and my spine was, I felt like I had glass inside of my spine, literally broken glass from top to bottom into my neck and into my shoulders. And so moving that was really bad. The thing that made me look into, I have to try it once more, at least once more before taking my life, was that 2 weeks before, more or less, before finding Carnivore, I couldn't walk. My legs wouldn't answer me anymore. I would try walking and they would just stay there stiff. And I wanted to move them, and I'm like, they're not answering. And I would go into panic, tell my wife, I'm not walking. They don't work. I mean, mind you, I worked as a neuropsychologist for years in hospital, helping people that had strokes and rehabilitation. So for me, not being able to walk means there's something really bad. It's not, I mean, that was my job. And so that really threw me over the last edge. And I think, although my brain fog was really bad, so putting together the real events is kind of hard now, but I do believe that I was on Reddit in all those immense forums that you can find there, trying to figure out what something was and if there were people having my same experiences with other symptoms that I had at the same time that were pretty bad. And at some point, I believe I found Dr. King Berry, who wrote a comment. Now, I can't find him on Reddit anymore, so I don't even know if that was true or if I made it up, but really, I don't care. I don't give a crap about that, because whatever it was, it brought me to the right place. And there were people talking about the benefits of the carnivore diet with fibromyalgia, with all this sort of pain, inflammation. And of course, I had IBS that was Crohn and wasn't Crohn. And so, whatever, it's those things when you stop going to the doctor because most doctors are useless. I believe they're useless. I've seen so many. I've seen doctors in so many countries in Europe, countries in Britain, countries in America, different states in America. And it's like if it's either in a box or it just doesn't exist. And I've never fit in a box. I've always been outside every possible box you can find. Well, it's the thing with autism, especially with all of the autism now. We've been through life, we've found ways to deal with it if we survived it that also are out of the box. So they can't put us anywhere. So it's just a mess. Anyhow, these people on Reddit we're talking about the benefits of the carnivore diet. And I'm like, okay, I'll try it. I have nothing to lose. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but it's not working now. So the next morning, I told my wife, I decided I'm going to only eat meat for a while. I need to see how it works. And because of the angel that my wife is, she turned to me and said, okay, I'll do it with you once I've eaten my enchilada. Because she just made enchilada that day before, and she's like, I'll finish that and then I'm with you. So that's how it started. And the other important thing is that I'd like everyone to be very conscious about is that night, because I was suffering from the most severe insomnia that you can think of, and maybe in another video I'll tell you all the things that were actually happening to me, because the list is so long that even I forget about it. But that night, not being able to sleep like every other night, I was looking for something to read, for information about carnivore diet, what it really means, how it works, other testimonials, because of course then I needed to see that what happened to other people, because when you do something new, you want to know what works and what doesn't work. And I think that other human beings' testimonials that have been through, to me, are the biggest science there is. I mean, I'm sorry. I do not believe that, oh, that's you, that's not me. I mean, you can have preferences, but this body is made the same for me and for you. We all, our cells are made in the same way. The nutrients we need are exactly the same, which is another thing that blows my brain out of my head, because I couldn't see. I was so blind, but whatever. Anyhow, on that Reddit, again, I found someone mentioning seleniortins and oxalate and anti-nutrients. That was the word. Yes, I found someone talking about anti-nutrients. I had never heard of anti-nutrients. I went through uh, how many years of school? I mean, I have a degree, a master degree, another master degree, and I don't know how many certifications after that, and not one time did I hear the word anti-nutrient ever. Even in my researches, I never found the word anti-nutrient. It's unbelievable. It literally blows my mind. But because I had never heard that word, I looked into it, and that's how I found Sally Norton's book, Toxic Superfoods. I downloaded it in Kindle in that moment, and that was about midnight. By 8 a.m., I had finished the book. I remember my wife got up at some point at night. She's like, "Oh, you can't sleep." I'm like, "No, I can't sleep, and I want to sleep, and I don't want to sleep. I found a book that you have to read." And I started talking, and if you know someone that's autistic, you know how they become when they have a special interest. I think that at 3 a.m. I started telling my wife about this book, and she kind of like went, and I'm like, "Okay, I know you're sleeping." And I kept telling her about the book because I just couldn't stop, because I was so overwhelmed. The information that is in that book should be shown. I don't know, prime time at night, but I don't know what happened. But if you can get that book, get Sally Norton's book. I mean, I will try and put a link below so you can find it on Amazon and see what it is if you haven't read it, because please do it. You have to, for your health and for everybody's health. So I found out about oxalates, and after that, I found out, looking into research and different papers, and oh my god, some stuff that we've known since the 80s about autism and how bad oxalates are for autistic people, because we can't detox them correctly because of some of our mutations. And that too, it just, it was one thing after the other. I kept thinking I had reached the bottom of the rabbit hole, and I hadn't. But the bottom line, at least for today, I think, is that in my almost 5 months carnivore, maybe it is 5 months, July, August, September, October, November, December. Yeah, it's actually reached 5 months. On the 28th of December was 5 months. In my 5 months carnivore, my fibromyalgia is gone. My IBS is, I would say, a good 90% healed. I have some flare-ups here and there, but they're very light. They literally last a few minutes so far, and then they disappear. Um, my, what was it? My kidney, my kidney disease, that was a stage 3, then stage 4. I think it's literally gone up at least stage 3 or 2, because I'm feeling a hell of a lot better. I didn't test it lately, but I know from how I felt that it's a lot better. I'm not pre-diabetic anymore. My diabetes has completely disappeared. My insulin is at pristine levels. My liver, my fatty liver, is completely gone. And I know that because I had blood work done at 7 day into the carnivore diet. And then I had one done like 3 weeks ago, I believe. Um, my megaloblastic anemia is a lot better than it's been my whole life. I still have it slightly, but I'm not sure I can completely get rid of that due to my mutation, but we'll see. Never say never, right? And my panic attacks went from almost constant to, I don't know, I wasn't feeling well yesterday. I had a kind of panic attack, but I think I was oxalate dumping because I felt it coming, and I told my wife, I think I'm in another oxalate dumping cycle. So I felt really crappy yesterday. But even so, even in my worst moment, even when I bring back my reactivity, my jumping at someone's throat when I need to answer someone because I have this extreme fear of losing control that is, very much part of this autistic inability to deal with a lot of emotions that come up. We do not have a vocabulary both in the brain, I think, and in the body. The body just overwhelms the mind. Even in that state, I can't, in all honesty, say I had a panic attack. I can't even say I was anxious. I was afraid. I recognized fear and I knew I was afraid, but it didn't get out of control because I didn't feel the need to have to control it. I was very aware of what was happening. I'm sleeping like a baby now. I've never slept as good in my life. I've been insomniac since the day I was born. Like, going to school, I just went through my lessons at night, all night long, because I was so bored. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't turn a light on because my parents would lose their crap if I did. So I couldn't really beat insomniac. I couldn't say that, but my dad a few times stayed with me. But even then, he said, "Well, now it's time to sleep." And I'm like, "Okay." But yeah, and before I went carnivore, I didn't sleep at all. I was hallucinating sometimes for lack of sleep because I would get 3, 4 hours in a week. I had nights where I literally did not sleep 1 minute at all. And I slept like a baby. Took longer to get there, but I still look like a baby. I go to bed, I open my book because I've always read. I read. I'm a voracious reader and I have to close it, but not because of brain fog, because what was happening before where I had to read like the same page 20 times and still have no freaking clue what was going on, but because I'm tired. And I have that tiredness that gets you like, oh, okay, here's my book, put it down, I lay back, do all my, artistic stimming things that have to be perfect before going to bed. But after that, I fall asleep, like to the point where I'm not realizing I'm falling asleep. I'm not turning, tossing zero, not once, nothing. I just sleep like a baby. So I would, uh, I would ask you to consider looking into it. You don't have to, but I mean, if someone hands you an information that you didn't have, and someone that has gone through it is stating that it's the best thing they ever did, don't do it, but look around. Take this information and think that I'm not gonna have any benefit by telling you. I just want you to know. But well, no, it's not true. I am aiming at benefit because I live on this planet and I live on a planet where everyone is sick. And if you don't believe me, just go out and look around. Don't tell me, anyone that's not complaining about pain or a mental health problem, diabetes, cancer, what is it? Anything, look around. If you don't see that, then throw away this video. But if you do, just consider it. Consider what I said. Okay? Thanks for watching, and also consider following us so that we can grow as a channel because we're brand new and we really have no idea what the hell we're doing so far. So thank you for your support and share the news.